Welcome back and thank you for joining us for episode 2. Reminder to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on Instagram, In the Mood for a Movie. And if you have any thoughts or feedback, send us an email, inthemoodforamovie@gmail.com. All right, let's get to the show. Welcome to In the Mood for a Movie. I'm your host, Jeremy, and joining me as always, my brother, Brad. This is a movie podcast where we have conversations about films one of us picks. The catch is, it will be someone's first time seeing that movie. Today, we're doing the 2003 action-adventure blockbuster Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Brad, what were you up to in 2003?
Well, I think it's a few years ago now, but I was working in the city at the time as a clerk, but still living with dad, so pretty much just getting that payback and pumping it into going out in nightclubs and stuff. Although I did see a few movies that year, which we'll get to a bit later, but obviously missed this one.
Yeah, I was still at school, looking to going on adventures to try and pop the cherries. So that's what I was up to. But I still remember when this movie came out, I saw it at the movies. One of my good mates was like, "Oh, look how long the title is. It must be crap." And maybe it wasn't. So before we begin today, just want to give a little summary of why I chose this movie. So I love action adventure, a little bit of comedy as well, falling in. This movie has it all. I love the open sea as well. I tell everyone that I'm a sailor. I always need windows open. And I love movies with ships. If a war broke out tomorrow, if I was still in my younger days, I would join the Navy in any kind of military service, even though I'm scared of drowning. So take that for what you will. Okay, just to remind everybody, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, pause now and go watch it. If you have seen the movie, awesome, welcome. And just reminder, there are going to be a lot of spoilers throughout the show. Great. So we'll start today with the plot summary. We've changed things up a little bit this week. So I've just put this into Work ChatGPT or Work AI to give me a little...
Don't give away our formula.
To give me a little one-line summary. So, a blacksmith teams up with the eccentric pirate to rescue the governor's daughter from cursed undead pirates who need his blood to break their Aztec gold curse. Brad, well, this is just like them Greeks had done at Troy. How impressed were you with Captain Pappos's crew and their ancient Greek knowledge?
Yeah, actually, I thought he did. He was quite loquacious or elocucious, I believe the terminology is. But yeah, they definitely had a grip of history, probably because they're ageless and they're probably going to be living for they probably might have been living for quite a long time.
Yeah, tell me what you thought. I'm keen to hear.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it was like a sweet spot of like comfort, adventure. It was light and it was funny. It was like practical stunts I thought in it. It was like clean storytelling. You sort of hinted at there, like I'm a sucker like for pirates, but the cursed pirate aspect on it, I thought was really good, and I don't think it was too overdone. First time I've ever seen Jack Sparrow in a movie. I knew who he was, but never actually seen him in a movie.
Okay.
So yeah, it was really quite good. What about you? What did you think?
Yeah, I like what you said before where you didn't exactly say this, but I'd forgotten what you said, so apologies. But it was something around like a good balance around the humor and stuff. I feel like these guys and these early, well, I wouldn't say early because it was 2003, but these Disney movies at the time, I feel like Marvel took a bit of notes for the unintended comedy in the movie, added into all their movies when you think about it, when they started coming out, all those Marvel movies at the start had a good sense of humor in it. I think, though, the Marvel then went to a bit of the extremes at the end of their, run or peak run, and it got a little bit kind of over the top. But yeah, look, I really loved the movie. Interesting, like it was a bit of a backward strategy from Disney where they already had the theme park ride and then they decided to create a movie out of it. I think they did it with a couple of other movies like Haunted House and mission to Mars, but they all bombed. So huge risk by them, but I thought that it definitely paid off as well. I also rewatching this, I really enjoy Gillette, which is Norrington's bitch. The guy that doesn't really get to say much is like, Gillette, do this, Gillette, do that. But as you get to watch the more the movies, like the franchise roll out, it's actually quite surprising to Gillette's character arc. I'll
It's
just
so
leave it
it's,
there.
it's so funny because you mentioned Gillette. Like as I was taking notes when I was watching it, I wrote the note Gillette, but then I couldn't remember why I wrote the note Gillette later. But I'm just thinking like who's actually calling their kid Gillette? But yeah, he was his bitch and he was pretty funny in the movie. So yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to run through the box office?
Yeah, so budget 140 million, box office 654.3 million.
Yeah,
So
boy.
huge, but film actually finished fourth, behind, in third place, The Matrix Reloaded. So that's what I definitely saw at the cinemas. Finding Nemo, um, at 871. Sorry, The Matrix Reloaded, 742 million. Finding Nemo, 871 million. Didn't see that one. And then probably the GOAT, I think, in modern trilogies, but the Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, grossing in 1.1 billion. So that's quite a lot of money. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
very successful.
Good year for Orlando Bloom, two of those movies, and good year for Disney, two of the four too.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because I did have a question for you about that. Do you think Orlando Bloom is probably better in this, or in Lord of the Rings? Now, I must mention that I've only seen this one and I haven't seen the other Pirates, but like, what are you sort of swayed as remembering him from Pirates or more Lord of the Rings?
Okay, yeah, good question. So if the question is, if you say Orlando Bloom, what movie franchise do you think of first? I would probably think of Lord of the Rings. I think though
Yeah.
he's a little bit more grown up in this movie, so to speak. I don't know if that's just like the elf character in him, but he just seems like I know he's a little bit innocent at the start of this movie, but he feels a little bit more older, I guess, in this movie, I felt.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like there was some parts too where he probably, although he was quite handy with the sword and stuff like that, he wasn't the go-to sort of, you know, attacking elf marksman probably like what he was in Lord of the Rings. So yeah,
Yeah.
a bit more of a human, obviously he's an elf, but a bit more of a human sort of factor, in this movie.
And I practice with them twice a day. Righto, fuckwit.
Okay, Jeb.
All right, so let's get into we'll go through the director and we'll go through the, I guess, producers and score and then go to the actors and then get into a little bit of the production. So directed by Gore Verbinski, whose only early movie I'd seen was The Ring. Did you ever see The Ring, Brad?
Yeah, I saw The Ring, and he came straight off of The Ring, into this movie. So The Ring scared the absolute crap out of me. So to see that he actually did this, and it was quite a light-hearted movie. I thought it was, yeah, it was
Yeah.
obviously it got a bit of a range there, but I don't know. I thought maybe this could have been a bit darker, but I guess it sort of depends on what sort of audience you're targeting.
Yeah. I just going back to The Ring quickly. I remember seeing that at the movies, and my mate and I were like hugging each other when that chick starts coming out of the TV. We were just like, "No fucking way!" We're like,
Yeah.
get back in the TV now." Um, cool. He's done a couple of collaborations with Johnny Depp as well. Have you seen like The Lone Ranger? Not that good, but have you seen Rango?
No, I haven't. But
I dig it. I remember it's pretty funny. Like it's a kids movie, but I ride with Rango. It's a good movie. So Johnny Depp plays like a gecko or a lizard or something in it, but it's quite good.
okay,
So
and that's obviously where Gore Verbinski won his Academy Award for that in 2011
awesome.
for
I
Rango.
didn't know that. I didn't look that up. So the score. So this was a bit of a confusing thing for me because I always thought Hans Zimmerman did the score, but it's actually credited to Klaus Badlet, if I'm saying his name right, where Hans is credited with music editor, score producer. So without stepping on the weird and wonderful things that we found on Google or the internet, which we'll talk about later, I am going to. So the score is officially by Klaus Badlet, as I said, but in reality, Hans Zimmerman production or was the creator of all the iconic themes and produced it. So the Klaus guy did a lot of the orchestra work, and then Hans. So that's why he got credited for it. Then Hans took over fully for all the sequels, which is why most people did the Hans Zimmerman score. I'm going to a Hans Zimmerman concert later in the year, so I was like, oh yeah, they better be playing pirates.
I'm sure they will be.
Yeah. So produced by the GOAT Jerry Bruckheimer. You gave me a couple of questions on this, but anything you want to talk about Jerry before we kind of get into your homework?
No, I guess you mentioned there the goat. I don't know if I ask you this now. I might as well ask you this now, but I was gonna say, do you think he is probably the greatest producer of all time?
Yeah, look, if you ask people, can you name me a producer? They're going to say Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer. I would say 90% of the time. There's not really
Mm-hmm.
that many other producers I can think of that have created so many iconic movies as those two until they split. And then, Jerry now still banging them out like F1 and Top Gun Maverick and those types of things. Like he's got the Midas touch.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Steven Spielberg's there too, but I don't really look at him as a producer. Even though he does do producing, I look at him more as like a director. So, yeah, I'll probably agree that Bruckheimer would probably be the goat when it comes to being producer. All right, so I did actually set you a challenge. I was going to ask you what your top five Jerry Bruckheimer movies of all time, but I've actually written down what I think your top five is. So if you'll
Okay.
indulge me, let me guess, and we'll see how close I got. How many do you reckon
Okay.
I'll get out of five?
So you got to get him in order.
Well, I'll try and get them in order.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
but
I reckon you'll get four movies, but I reckon you'll get two in order. How about that?
okay, all right.
But
Well,
from yeah. Okay, you go, and then I'll tell
Uh,
you.
Okay, well, I'll start at five and I put down Top Gun at five. And then at four, I'll put down Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay,
Then at three, I'll put The Rock.
okay,
And then at two, I'll put Crimson Tide.
okay,
And then at one, I put Con Air.
okay. So, you got all of them, but you didn't get my number four. So I found this really tough, and I kind of put five a tier. So I've got three and five, which might be three of the movies that you've said. So actually, you didn't get two movies, I don't
Oh,
think.
really?
So at five, I have, and I think I would probably just stick with Beverly Hills Cop, but I couldn't not include Con Air and Crimson Tide. So five, Beverly Hills Cop, Con Air, Crimson Tide. Again, I'm cheating.
Yeah.
Number four, Armageddon. Number
Yeah.
three, Bad Boys. Number two, The Rock. And number one, Top Gun.
Really?
I can't quit it. I can't quit
Yeah.
it. It's the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
He went like this. We went like that. I said, Hollywood, where'd he go? Hollywood said, where'd who go?
Do you want me to tell you my top five or do you want me to
Yeah.
spoil it?
So I just want to guess. I'm going to guess, but we did have lunch yesterday. So you did kind of give me a clue. But I thought this one was going to be number one, but I'm going to say it's number two. So Deja Vu is number two. And I reckon Enemy of the State is somewhere in your top five. Yeah.
Okay, so at five, I had The Rock. At four, I had Gone in 60 Seconds. At three, I had Beverly Hills Cop. At two, I had Deja Vu, as you correctly said, and at number one, I had Top Gun as well. So
Okay.
I do think it is really good. Yeah, you mentioned that Enemy of State. I do really enjoy that movie, but I think if I was forced to watch a movie one night as between The Rock and Enemy of State, I'll probably choose The Rock.
Heck, man. All right, get on to the cast now. Just a little food for thought for you. Do you feel this movie got all the actors during like their prime or a run of their prime, and it all kind of came together just quite nicely? Like let's say the four main leads. So Johnny, Jeff, Orlando, and Kira.
Well, I say Johnny, yeah, probably because I mean he was sort of a respected actor already, coming off of like Edward Scissorhands and Sleepy Hollow, but he really wasn't mainstream blockbuster lead yet. But I think
Yeah.
Pirates completely redefined that for him, and he got his first Oscar nomination for Jack Sparrow. Incidentally, he did win the SAG award for that performance as well, which not all the time, but a lot of the time that sort of means sort of premonitions who's going to win the Oscar. I find,
Yeah.
but no, I think you're right about Johnny Depp. Keira Knightley, she was only 17 during filming of this, and had broken out with Bend It Like Beckham. So Pirates, I guess, was her sort of first sort of leading role.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
just going to interrupt you there because I'm just going to go back to Johnny for a sec.
yeah, sorry, yeah.
So, I was very surprised that this was his first Oscar nomination. I still can't believe he didn't get anything for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Like, just a brilliant movie. As you said, Edward Scissorhand and like Platoon are the first movies, then Donnie Brasco. Sleepy Hollow, I think, was the first one I saw at the movies with him in it.
Mhm.
But I agree, like, all those movies are great, but I feel like his career trajectory kind of explodes and he can pick any movie he wants after this movie. Um, Keira Knightley, where do you reckon
Yeah,
the first time I saw her in a movie?
probably Bend It Like Beckham, was it?
No,
What was it?
Star Wars: The Phantom Menace.
Oh, she in that?
Yeah, she's Natalie Portman's maid and a bodyguard.
No, really?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
even know.
Keira
Yeah.
Knightley. Yeah, I didn't
Wow.
know. I only knew because of I remember a trivia question a couple of years ago. So,
Yeah,
but I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, it's not like I was sitting there in 1999. Oh shit! Look, it's Keira Knightley.
yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
know that. So Orlando Bloom. So as I said, he was in two of the biggest four movies for the year. But let's have a little look at his run from, I guess, 2001. So 2001, Black Hawk Down, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. That's like a 10 out of 10 year. 2002, The Two Towers. 2003, Ned Kelly. Uh, Pirates of the Caribbean and Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. 2004, I didn't really know any of the movies apart from Troy, where he plays an awesome bitch in it. Kingdom of Heaven, haven't seen, and then does a couple of other pirates. But like, I reckon he has about a 3 year run where he's the man and he's working a lot on some of the biggest blockbusters for those years.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like that is a pretty impressive like list of movies that you did mention. I think capping it off by doing the Lord of the Rings trilogy and straight into Pirates of the Caribbean, which was very successful too. Yeah, I think he was a bit of a leading man then in Hollywood at the time.
Did you ever see Everest: A Climb for Peace?
I have to say that's probably on the list of movies that I will not see. So no, I
Okay.
haven't seen it. Is it any good?
I don't know. I just want to know if they found peace when they got to the top.
Probably not.
Now, we're not going to bore everyone with Jeffrey Rush. We went through Jeffrey Rush last week. If you haven't heard last week's and you want to learn more about Jeffrey Rush, go back and listen to it. I know we're Australian. I understand it. He's Australian. We're not homers. I promise you. We probably won't be doing another Jeffrey Rush movie for another year. The next Jeffrey Rush movie, I would guess, may be Dead Man's Chest. But again, we won't be doing another Jeffrey Rush movie. So if you're a Jeffrey Rush fan club, apologies. If you don't like Jeffrey Rush, awesome. Listen next week.
I was going to say on that too. I did get asked, "Are you guys just fanboying Jeffrey Rush?" But
Yeah.
it was purely coincidental that we
Oh,
had
it's
to do two Jeffrey Rush movies in a row. But yeah, like you said, we won't go into it. We pretty much covered his career in the last one.
Yeah, I will say I got very excited when I realized it was C. Jeffrey Rush, and I was like, "Fuck it, let's do it."
Let's go.
All right, funny and weird things you found. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
No, you can start.
All right, so filmed across a number of locations, St. Vincent being the main island that they used in the Caribbean, but a lot of the filming was filmed in studios in LA. There's a good little like 47 production or making of YouTube clip that I watched as well. So they had a historic advisor, which I love. I love seeing that just to kind of talk about the guns and the clothing, things like that. They built 72 cannons. The fort, they built the fort and they didn't build it on the island. They built it somewhere else. But the way that they constructed the way that the fort was facing meant that it aligned with the sun in the movie, which I thought was pretty clever. Johnny Depp, well, a lot of them wore contact lenses, but Johnny Depp wore contact lenses not to change his eye colors, but just so he wouldn't squint. They acted like sunglasses, which I thought uh, was pretty cool. The cave took 5 months to build, and they used a couple of 100,000 coins or Aztec coins in it. Oh, and you know the bloke that kind of always is throwing those bombs with the long beard?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize this, but apparently his beard's always on fire. So they would have little like kind of sets at the end of his beers to keep it smoking, but it would burn him. Or if you're having a sword fight with someone and his beard flicked up, it might burn the other actor. Um, I got what? Yeah, I got one. Kind of cool thing to talk about as well. But I liked, which I'll get into a little bit. I liked that the all the visual effects was from like Lucasfilms or
Mm.
Light and Sound Studio. But I'll let you talk about a couple of. Actually, I'll just talk you through this now because I mentioned it. So the coolest thing I found, and I don't know if you found it as well, was that the VFX was expensive, like 2,000 to 10,000 per minute. Their budget seems like very high. So I was a little bit kind of like, why is this the thing? Because it sounded like they had a lot of money to spend. But the writer, one of the writers, was talking about how they couldn't have the pirates just skeletons the whole time because it was going to cost them too much, which was what the original idea was. So Terry Rossi, he quoted just to help with, I guess, reducing those costs. With all the nightmare fight scenes, CGI was expensive at the time. We couldn't afford for the pirates to be skeleton all night long. I was sitting at the table and I laughed out loud, or lolled. Everyone looked at me. What if the pirates are skeletons at night, but only when the moon comes out? Can we get away with it? They loved it. Yes. When the budget gets tight, we just put a cloud in front of the moon. And that's what we did. Genius. Genius.
We'll just put a cloud in front of the moon.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that. And do you know what? Like, cause I didn't even know that. And I thought them transitioning from humans into skeletons was something that was really cool for me. Um, and I didn't think it was overdone. So I think I would have preferred to have seen them as they were in this movie instead of just being skeletons for the whole time. So,
Yeah, I
um,
think it would have made it a little bit more like childish and like you would have got over it kind of straight away. At first you
yeah,
would have been like, oh shit. And then you would have been like, that's a bit weird.
yeah.
I've got some more things to talk about, but you can go first.
Well, I was gonna say, I saw that apparently Johnny Depp based Jack Sparrow on Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones. So
Yeah, I remember reading that a while ago.
Disney were a little bit baffled with that, but it's funny now that I've read that. Like when I go back and see it, I can see the Keith Richards sort of resemblance on it. I was just gonna say, like, you mentioned there. You mentioned earlier, part of me, that the script was based on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Disneyland. So, I was thinking, like, could could you have I back in the day gone on like Space Probe 7, like Wonderland, and then like come up with an idea for a movie? So I don't know. I thought that was pretty good. Like instead of just enjoying the ride, the guy's sitting there going, "Oh, you know what? I can probably turn this into a bit of a cool movie."
Yeah.
Um, and I was just going to say, lastly, the other thing that I found too was that the monkey apparently got sick and pooped on Jeffrey Rush quite a lot, which he openly complained about. And I was just thinking that's why that W.C. Fields quote, when it comes to doing television or movies, that he always used to say, "Never work with children's or he said never work with children or animals." So that does hold true. But it got me thinking about the Mount Rushmore of primates in movies. So I'm going to give you my Mount Rushmore primates in movies. So there's a shout out to Abu from Aladdin, the monkey from Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the oh no, that meme app from Planet of the Apes where it's like, oh no. I
Yeah.
don't know if you say that. But my Mount Rushmore of primates in movie, I had Spike from Ace Ventura. So that's Ace Ventura's little furry sidekick there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed it, but I had it anyway. I had the Encino Man from Encino Man. So Brendan Fraser as like a primate caveman.
Yeah.
Thor Neanderthal discovering 7-Eleven. I also had, I'm sure you remember this one, the orangutan from Cannonball Run. The one that's driving
Yeah,
in the
yeah. Just
car,
sits in the
flipping off
back.
the
Yeah,
cops.
that's so good. Oh,
And
sitting at
then
the front, isn't he? He's like
yeah, he's
pretending
sitting
to
in the
drive.
front,
Yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah.
guys are driving at the back behind like the black windshield. And then I thought the best primate in a movie was the drug dealing monkey from The Hangover Part Two. He's he's that the tiny king of Bangkok nightlife. He's sitting on the roof smoking. He's running drugs and everything across the rooftops.
Yeah, nice. I would say my favorite primate, just thinking out loud, are the monkeys from Wizard of Oz. Fly, my pretties, fly.
Flying monkeys. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah. Now the ships were fake as well, but they did rent or they did transfer the interceptor from like a they got like an old ship and they transferred that. So I wouldn't say that ship was fake, but the Dauntless and the Black Pearl, they made like barges, but they could actually sail them, so they're pretty good. But a lot of the Black Pearl was filmed in a studio, but yeah, they were shot on stationary barges, and then they made all the sailing or the ocean, the movement around it with CGI as well. And also, then the last thing I saw was Disney reportedly spent $2 million on the July premiere at Disneyland, where guests could ride all the rides, including Pirates of the Caribbean, before seeing the movie on the big screen. So that would have been pretty cool.
Man, that would have been one premiere to be at for sure. That would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. All right, Oscars and awards. I've got a couple of thoughts on this. So, Oscar nominated, so Johnny Depp, Best Actor. Then also got nominated for Best Visual Effects, Best Makeup, Best Sounding Mix, and Best Sound Editing. Um, I would say that for Best Actor, I saw Sean Penn won for Mystic River. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's any good. But I'm guessing you would have wanted your man Bill Murray to win for Lost in Good Translation.
Yeah, that was a really, really good year. I do think that if Bill Murray was ever going to win it, he was going to win it that year. But the performance though in Mystic River, I thought was absolutely fantastic. So I mean, he could have got. I mean, any three of these, I reckon, he could have got it. So
Yeah. Now I've got a couple of gripes. Not being nominated for original score and or winning is an absolute travesty. So the
mm.
winner, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Howard Shore, that's fine. Great. Have your Oscar. However, he had already won the Oscar for Fellowship of the Ring. So like what the hell? Like how can you double dip? Like from memory, the scores are pretty similar. I could imagine there's some new music, but like is it wildly different? Like you've probably seen Lord of the Rings a lot more than I have, and I've seen it a lot. But like, how different is the score from Fellowship of the Ring to Return of the King?
Well, I mean, I'll probably get, lynched by some hardcore, fanatical, Lord of the Rings enthusiasts. But to me, I think you're right. I don't think it is wildly different. So probably
Yeah.
like, again, like I haven't seen the other Pirates of the Caribbean, but I can imagine the score's pretty much going to be the same for all the other movies too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. Look, you only have to win it once. Don't have to win it 5 times or 3 times or whatever. Like the other nominees, Big Fish, Cloud and Mountain, Finding Nemo, House of Sand and Fog, fuck off. As if Pirates of the Caribbean cannot be in there for one of those. And as I said, it should have won. I also thought they maybe should have been nominated for costume. I quite like all the costumes, and I feel like they look quite authentic, especially all the British outfits and things like that. Um, so that was another area where I thought they could have been nominated. Surprised that they didn't win any Oscars. So questions. Do you have any questions? You could start.
yeah, I definitely have got some questions. So, um, should Norrington stop saying that's the worst part I've ever seen? Like he keeps beating you and makes you look completely incompetent. Like, shouldn't you just keep it to yourself and say maybe that's the best part I've ever seen, and that way you don't look so bad?
Yeah, I think potentially he's just too proud to say it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I get. Yeah, I feel like this. I was like, right, mate, just like back in your box, like
yeah.
fall on your sword.
Okay, if you're going on your next bachelor party, where would you want it to be held? Do you want to go to Tortuga, which looks really off the chain, or do you want to go Vegas, Ibiza? I know you've been to Ibiza or Amsterdam. Like where? Because this Tortuga, man, this place is off the chain. Like
Is
the
that
people are,
Pirate Island?
yeah, it's like the
Yeah,
punch
it's the
ups all the
best.
time, and people getting
Yes.
smashed. Like I like it looks like a pretty wild place to go.
I wouldn't last 2 seconds on Pirate Island. They would see me and they would rape and pillage my little tush, and I would, I would, no, thank you. Like,
Oh my god.
I wouldn't get there. All right. So, were pirates more progressive than the civilized world, or was it just practical survival among criminals? So, I had a look at the pirate code. If you Google it, there's like 5 different pirate codes because they're all different charters, and I think they only found a couple of them. But like in the pirates code, pirates had voting rights, workers' compensation. So, like if you lost an arm or something, you got a couple of coins. Equal profit sharing, like the captain might get a little bit more and the first mate as well, but pretty much everyone gets the same. And democratic leadership, so you're voting in, your captain, and you can have a mutiny or whatever as well. Meanwhile, British Navy, forced service, brutal punishment, officers kept all the prize money, and no compensation for injury. Would you rather be a pirate or a British sailor? Like, you tell me.
And now that you you've said that, you probably want to be a pirate because yeah, at least you get a share of the loot and you get some rum along the way. And you get to probably do a bit of what you want to do instead of in the Navy where you sort of get told what to do all the time.
Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth definitely shagged, right?
No, I don't know. I don't think they did.
So
Like,
on the island, I felt like it was going to happen again for the second time before he passes out. Whenever they're kind of around each other and Will, there's like a bit of awkward tension. And also at the end, he says to her, like, it never would have worked out between us, darling. So it's like, you can say that to someone that you've already kind of been down and dirty with. Like, as I said, I definitely think they shagged.
okay.
Who's the chef of the Pearl, and why is he making such pretty and elaborate meals if they can't eat?
You're right. You're right. Because if they died, like if they were like undead pirates like years ago, well, like that food's fresh. Like when they're pillaging what Port Royal, they're like, make sure you bring some sundries on board so we can cook up some fresh meals. Yeah, that
Yeah,
that
and
does
like
make
when
sense.
he's like, I'm gonna eat an apple as my first thing, like as soon as I get my taste back. Like,
Yeah. I had a question for you. So Will Turner at the start of the movie when the pirates get attacked and then obviously young Elizabeth sees him floating on that pontoon, like the debris. Is he on that ship with his dad? Like his dad's already dead, or what's the go there?
yeah, I thought it was potentially like a not a cruise ship, a
Yeah.
supply ship,
Yeah.
and he was on that because they make reference to it in the movie that the dad sent the coin to the son.
Okay.
So the son, I don't think, was with them, and he's on. Yeah, so that's why he doesn't know that he's a pirate. I believe.
Okay. All right.
So do you think Jack is the best or worst or luckiest pirate? Does he get
Uh,
the gold? Do you reckon he gets the gold coin to protect himself because he knows that Will needs to do the blood oath and then he can just do it as well, so he's buying himself some time, or is he just a dumb thief?
no, that's a good point. He knew because when he was in jail the first time at Port Royal and the skeleton pirates attacked, he was like, "Oh, okay, the curse is real." When that guy's hand came through
Yeah,
through the thing, so he took that coin knowing that he would be undead or a skeleton or whatever
yeah,
until Will cured it. But I have to say, I do think he's probably he like if he was playing Fallout, his luck skill would be like 10. Like I think he's probably the luckiest. He probably is the luckiest pirate instead of the smartest pirate. What do you
yeah.
think?
Yeah, I think he took the coin, like as he said, I couldn't help myself, but I think he's like, well, in case I get stabbed or something, I better protect myself until we give Will, or we do the blood oath. Why do you think why do you think Will dressed like one of the three musketeers in the final scene?
That's a
Like,
good
that's
point.
not a pirate. Like, did he go to fucking Paris, like in between Jack's sentencing?
Yeah, you're right. He did look like. It's funny you mention that now. Like I look back on it, he did look like a musketeer. I don't understand. He's supposed to be an ironsmith or what do you call it? Like a welder or something. I forget the
I don't
terminology,
know.
but yeah, I don't know
He just
basics like
needed
a
tights, and
musketeer.
he could have been the prince from friggin' Sleeping Beauty.
uh,
What did you think? Oh, sorry, you go.
I
My
was gonna,
last question. It's not really a question.
I was gonna ask, who's Jack Sparrow's arch nemesis in this movie? Is it Commodore Norrington or is it Captain Barbossa?
I would say it's Barbosa.
Yeah, because yeah, I feel like it is Barbossa, but I think it should be Norrington who's trying to catch him the whole time.
Yeah, but Jack wants his ship back.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think he just doesn't care about Norrington at all.
Hmm.
What did you think of the scene when they're all walking underwater, skeletons going out to the British ship?
I loved it. I thought that was
Yeah,
really cool,
it's fucking
especially
cool,
especially
wasn't it?
when they go in the moonlight part and they sort of go transition into skeletons again. I thought that was
Yeah.
really sick. Yeah.
That's Jerry Bruckheimer just swinging his massive cock just there. But talking
um,
about scenes, oh, sorry, go
no,
questions.
no, yeah. I was gonna say, what age bracket? I mentioned it before. What age bracket or demographic do you think this movie was targeted at? Like, is it young adults, like kids, everybody? Like,
I would say, yeah, teenagers to like young teenagers to adults, because there's got enough humor in it and like to keep everybody entertained. But I would say it's pretty wide.
yeah,
So talking about favorite scenes, we'll go through some of the scenes. I might just list out my ones, and then you can jump in with any ones that I missed. So the opening scene where Elizabeth meets Will the first time and takes the coin from him, and they see the burning ship and the Black Pearl sail off. Just such a great opening. Like, let's go. Sets the movie up. The first time we see Jack coming into port, when he parks the sunken ship and he's standing on top of the mast, like that's just I can watch that endlessly. As we talked about earlier on Pirate Island, when he finds Mr. Gibbs and they're just chatting and all the pirates are fighting in the background, it's so good. I like the two final ship battles with the Interceptor when the mast is blown and Barbossa just casually walks and the mast just kind of falls down in between him. Just a great shot, I feel, and I just love like how casual it is, but just also the fighting is awesome. I love when Jack and Elizabeth are stranded on the island and they're pissed and they're singing around the fire. And then it just, I don't know, it just makes me happy. And then when he wakes up the next morning and she's burning all the rum and he's like,
but what about
"But
the
why
rum?
is the rum gone?"
Yeah,
It's just so good. And then the sword fight at the end, and I guess the final battle with the pirates going out to the boat, and that guy that's throwing the bombs, and when he's a skeleton, they throw the bomb back into and then push him into the shade or out of the moonlight, and it's stuck, and then he blows up. I just reckon that just that whole last bit's just so freaking cool.
yeah,
What about
yeah.
you? What scenes do you love?
Yeah. We talked about it before. Obviously, the like undead pirates. Like, I'm so much more engaged because of it. Like, if it was just normal pirates, I'd probably I wouldn't have liked it as much. But because they're undead pirates, I think it's a cool spiel. So we talked about it like when they were walking on the ocean floor. I thought that was just sick. That was so cool. Also liked I'm a sucker for pushing the hostage into the rescuers. So it's never not done right in movies, and I think it always works. So when he first gets captured and he's in chains, and Elizabeth's putting his belt and everything back on, and then he's like, I've saved you, you're going to save me, and he pushes her, and then he makes his little escape and everything like that. I don't know. I think it's just so funny, and then like even just his like little reactions when she's putting the belt on and stuff. Like, I don't know. It was like an action sequence with like a little bit of humor and stuff. I thought it was just right. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So the Hans Gruber, Brad, do you want to remind everyone what the Hans Gruber is?
I sure can. So that's the scene from Die Hard where Hans Gruber is slowly falling off the building and he's got that face on him and it sort of happens in slow motion. So it's the slowly falling off the building face moment that stole the movie, whether it was intentionally or unintentionally.
What
Give me a
did you have?
start.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've already mentioned this scene, but because I haven't seen Pirates of the Caribbean and I know who Jack Sparrow is, and couldn't wait to see it. So, so my first scene is seeing pretty boy Johnny Depp standing mightily tall on a mast, looking radiant. Here comes Jack Sparrow, and all of a sudden the camera zooms out, and he's on the smallest little boat that's sinking, and it
Yeah.
rocks up to the dock perfectly as it sinks, and he steps off seemingly.
How great is it?
I was in stitches. I thought that was a really great way to set up the tone for the movie. I love that.
And
So
I love when he sees the three skeletons and he puts his hat like on his heart and he kind of gives them like a little kind of farewell or like thank you for your service. Yeah,
yeah,
I was actually going to have that as well, but I changed it. So mine's going to go back to what I mentioned in one of the scenes when the interceptor's mast comes crashing down onto the ship and Barbosa just casually walks forward as it's falling down in between it. Like I just love it. Like
Yeah.
I think I like your one more, but just rewatching it this time, I really enjoyed that. Best quote. What are your favorite quotes?
I got two. I liked it when Will and Jack were underneath the water with the boat on top of them where they could breathe. And then Will just goes to Jack, "This is either madness or brilliance." And Jack goes, "It's remarkable how often those two traits coincide." So I really like that one. I'll save my second quote, but yeah, you go with your one.
Okay, so I really like the "Hello, Popper" when he kind of looks through and she's staring out at the pirate before he kidnaps her.
Yeah.
I also like when Barbosa is maybe trying to get some sympathy from Elizabeth about his situation. I feel nothing, not even the touch of a woman's flesh. And then I like this the whole time where, like, you know, how you were saying before, like, oh, that's the worst pirate I've ever seen or whatever. But then Johnny Depp finally gets like the one line, you forgot one thing. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow.
I also liked when Will was about to be executed by Barboza, and Jack Sparrow rocks up, and he goes, and then Will's like, "Where's Elizabeth?" And he goes, "She's safe, just like I promised. She's set to marry Norrington, just like she promised, and you're going to die for her, just like you promised. So we're all men of our word, really, except Elizabeth, who was the fact is a woman."
Yeah.
But the whole like everyone's keeping their promise, I thought was very funny.
Yeah, yeah, no, awesome. I like, yeah, that's a great line as well. I think I was going to write that down. I've got another one, but I've got it later in that I'll pull it out later. Best song or score?
Well, I don't know if the technical name for the song, but I just like that intro, like just the music, the dun 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 dun. Dun. Oh, I can't even do it properly, but you know, just the
The
happy
theme.
score. Yeah, the
Yeah,
happy theme
yeah,
score
yeah,
I think is probably
yeah.
the best. So
I um I like the score just in general, but I really like the yo ho the young Elizabeth singing at the start.
pirates
Just
life for me.
she does
Yeah,
it nice and eerie with all the mist and like the way that they do the music. I just think it sets it the tone really well. And I like the music when they're on the island, as I said, when they're getting drunk on the island together. I don't know why, I just had the biggest smile on my face watching that scene. Um, this time. So pre 2000. So this is when we talk about mainly movies that are like older or younger about like things that would have been made before the 2000s. Now this movie's a lot older, so it is before the 2000s, so there isn't really too much to talk about, but I've got one thing that I've thought of that doesn't really happen these days. I enjoy Jeffrey Rush and all the pirates' teeth being disgusting. So actors these days, they don't do the teeth of the year of the day. So I'm watching, or I was watching, funnily enough, a pirate TV show called Black Sails. Everyone in the show is tanned, godlike, and gorgeous with pearly white teeth. Like you need sunnies to see these white teeth. And the ladies in the brothel, very nice, very, very nice. And everyone's clean though. Whereas in this movie, everyone kind of looks filthy and a bit disgusting. And I'm like, good, they look like the time.
yeah, they actually look like pirates. So yeah, that is good. I had pre-2000s. I had false bottom in drawers and desks. We just have passwords on computers now. So I was gonna say, I mean, I'm looking at my desk now that I'm sitting at. Like, there's no drawers or anything on it. I think even 20 years ago, probably people had drawers with like false bottoms and things, but I don't have that anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
good
the
one.
other pre-2000s thing I had was dueling with swords. These days, it's just dueling with randoms in comment sections on Facebook. So I was going to say people don't really duel with swords anymore.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask that just on that swords or lightsabers. They have like sort of sword fights and stuff. And had that really cool scene where the sword just came out of the heating thing or whatever, and it was like sort of sparking. But what works
Yeah.
better, swords or lightsabers for you?
Well, I think it just depends on if it's sci-fi or not. I love Star Wars, so I can't comment. um, I'm not going to shit on Star Wars, but swords are like I think they're the same. They're the same thing to me.
Yeah, yeah. I like
Um,
Star Wars too, but I don't know. There's something romantic and charming about swords, I think. So yeah.
what has aged the best for you?
So the Benjamin Button I had was weight loss treatments. So they have the corset to make Elizabeth look thinner, and she's literally blacking out. Now we have Ozempic, and people are taking that with side effects. So it just goes to show whether you're in the 1700s or in the 2000s, weight loss and looking good is still a thing.
Yeah. And apologies, I should have mentioned, yeah, this is what called the Benjamin button. So this is what ages, every time you watch the movie. I just thought Johnny Depp's performance ages. Like, he's so charismatic. He holds the screen, like holds a presence on the screen. It's great. I really like the practical effects. I might have could have put this in pre-twos as well. But, like, I think all the ships look great. And that's because they built the ships. They didn't just use CGI and then like have it off in a sound stage. Um, and then the humor, as I said, it's like a great mix of action, adventure, comedy without going over the top. So I just think that it paces really well, and there's jokes when there need to be jokes, but they don't just
Mm.
try and turn it into a full blown comedy.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, it's not like a full blown comedy. Yeah, you're right.
What's aged the worst for you? What didn't you enjoy?
Um, again, I guess I probably went like into the part of the theme kind of world, but I just had wigs. Like you don't see them anymore. So, these days you got people, doing the Turkish Airways. Like you see a whole bunch of bald dudes, with recent scar transplants sitting in, Constantinople airport waiting a return flight home. Word of warning, lads, I'm worried that, they're not just giving you a transplant; they might be taking something out too. But yeah, I just had wigs. So I was going to ask, like, did you notice though that the wigs in the movie were aging? So in the first scene, when Elizabeth sees Will on the floating Debris, the wigs of the governor and Captain Norrington are like black. But then 8 years later, they've all got grey wigs and white wigs. And
Oh, I didn't notice.
yeah, it was just weird. Like
That's funny.
they've obviously tried to age the character just by aging the wig. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was
Okay.
funny. What did you
I got
have?
I got two things. The age difference between Norrington and Miss Swanson, like especially at the start of the movie, she looks like 13 max and he's like mid to late 20s. So it doesn't age well, like I guess with today with all the grooming and Epstein stuff that's going on around the world. But yeah. And then when he says to her, like I think the first scene once she's Keira Knightley, you've become a fine woman, Elizabeth. It's like, oh, like just doesn't sound good. And then the other one, and I don't know if this is a picky nick, I just think it doesn't age well. Putting the hot coals in the bed to warm it up. Like, how long do we want these people to live?
Yeah,
And
yeah, you kept it.
apparently it was a mistake by the actor. But I'm like, well, couldn't have been that big a mistake because they kept it in the movie. Like, surely, like, cut, like, actually put it on top, or like they're meant to take it out when they hop into the bed. But like, could you imagine going to sleep and like, yeah, there's hot coals at the end of your bed,
Yeah,
underneath
yeah,
all your sheets.
yeah.
Enjoy. The Frederick Zula. So who was the best performer on and off screen?
So did you want to go or do you want me to go?
I think we may have the same answer, but you can go.
I had Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, Johnny Depp too. Yeah,
I
just
thought his
awesome.
performance was just so effortlessly magnetic. And just rewrote what a blockbuster leading male could do. Um, yeah, every slurred line, wobbling step, sideways glance, it just felt, although it might have seemed chaotic, it just felt controlled. And I just thought it's endlessly quotable. Like you and I have just been quoting sort of Jack Sparrow stuff, and we were sort of like revert back to him. So I just thought it was, possible imagining anyone else pulling this one off.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, same. No notes. So go cast. So this is where we talk about we're changing up a little bit. So this is where we talk about who would we want our perfect cast, if there's any actors or if all the actors we wanted to redo, but also we're going to talk a little bit more about what actors were in line for the movie. So for this, I didn't really have too many. Jen, shout out to Jen. Jen suggested Jack Black for Mr. Gibbs. Um, I thought maybe because they just look the same, but go on you, Jen. Thank you for the suggestion.
That's a good one. I
Um,
like that.
yeah, I like it as well. I think he'd be good. I would recast Governor Swanson. Maybe because I hate the character in Game of Thrones. It's the same actor, but for Governor Swanson, I put Sean Bean, but then I thought he might be too strong, so I settled for Colin Firth.
Okay.
What about
So,
anyone?
yeah. So I just went through I went through sort of the four main ones.
Yep.
Uh, it was weird. Like this sort of came, I guess, into the researching part too for Jack Sparrow, but apparently Jim Carrey got offered the role but couldn't do it because he was doing Bruce Almighty. I mean, can you imagine what this movie would have been like having Jim Carrey play Jack Sparrow? Like it would have been like we were mentioning before. It would have been just like trying to be like a comedy the whole way out, and I really don't think it would have worked. If I had to do it, um, I don't like that funny part, but I would have, you could have gone like a total badass, like don't give a fuck, kind of like a Danny McBride and like Eastbound and Down, like that. I reckon that would
Oh,
have been
yeah.
that would have been pretty awesome. But I mean, if Johnny Depp wasn't available, I reckon Robert Downey Jr. could have done a pretty good shot of this one as well. He's got
Oh,
that same sort
yeah.
of style, so
Both loves their substances as well. Yeah, good one. Yeah, so going through like casting director then as well. So I find it weird because I've like half the stuff I read that's like we wrote this for Johnny Depp, and then half the stuff I saw on the internet's like we offered all these actors before Johnny Depp. So I saw that they had Hugh Jackman, and like the character was originally written for Hugh Jackman, hence the name Jack. But
Mhm.
I don't know if that's true or not. I saw Matthew McConaughey. I'm not really sure about that. Yeah, I saw the Jim Carrey. This one or these last ones, I don't think are real at all. So Christopher Walken, like surely he's too old, and Carrie Hughes, love Princess Bride, but I'm not too sure about that. Michael Keaton, the Keats, no, and then Robert De Niro, like fuck off, as if he was considered.
I read that too. I mean, can you imagine like Robert De Niro doing this part? Is
Yeah.
that Port Royal? Is that it? Is that what it is? Like, there's no way he's gonna do that. Or Christopher Walken just go like, I'm a pirate. It's just,
Why?
nah.
Yeah, Robert De Niro. Why are you so interested in my book about Aztec gold, lady?
Yeah.
Okay, Will Turner, Heath Ledger. That would have been great. I think that probably who I would always put Heath Ledger in. Jude Law apparently was the first choice, and then Ewan McGregor, Tom McGuire, Christian Bale. But I don't know about that.
Yeah, I had the same list there as well. Plus James Franco apparently was considered too. But no,
Oh, I
like
love the
you, I mean,
Franks.
yeah, yeah, I love him too. But like you, I think Heath would have been a good pick. I mean, obviously we're Aussie bias, but I think he would have been a really good pick for Will Turner. I think he could have
Yeah,
really
I
pulled
think he
that
would have
one off.
been good. I think he would have
Mm.
been great. Elizabeth Swann, the only one I saw Jessica Alba, Babe, would have been considered, and Natalie Portman. But again, I don't know how true these are.
Well, they also apparently had Scarlett Johansson audition for it as well. But
Oh, did they?
yeah, but I reckon. I mean, when I first before even researching it, I thought Natalie Portman could have pulled off Elizabeth as well. So I thought that was a pretty smart sort of discussion at least. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the only other thing I saw was for Barbosa, they also considered Robert De Niro, but like again, I think Robert De Niro would have said no.
Well,
I don't know.
I also read that your boy Brian Cox was turned it down, but then later
Oh,
regretted it.
was he?
So
Yeah, Brian Cox
yeah,
would be great.
he would have been good at this. And then Ian McKellen and Alan Rickman were also considered too. But I actually did have a good casting alternative for this. If I was doing like the goat casting from anything from anywhere,
Yep,
um, the movie The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking back in
yep,
1988.
yep.
Pippi's dad, the sea captain, he's got that bellowing sort of voice. His name's John Shutt. I think I think he would have nailed that part. I really like his bellowing laugh. So, um, fun fact though too, I think he was in MASH as well, which is but yeah,
Oh, was he? So
mm.
which one? What was the dad's name? Or you don't, what was his name?
John Shuck.
John Shuck. Okay, I'll have to look him up afterwards.
Mm.
Cool. What character would Bruce Campbell have played if you were casting? Brad, I'll let you go first.
Well, after you absolutely smashed it last week, I thought I really had to come back and redeem myself this week. So I had Bruce Campbell as the Harbour Master. So I've got a little
Oh,
scene for you. So Jack Sparrow, atop of his crow's nest, steps directly on the
yes.
dock as the Jolly Mon sinks. He casually scrolls across the dock until the harbour master stops him. Hey, buddy, you can't tie your beaten up boat here to my dock without paying a shilling, and I shall need to know your name. Jack tosses 3 shillings at him and says, "What do you say to 3 shillings and we forget the name?" And then Bruce Campbell, as the harbour master, goes, "Welcome to Port Royal, Mister."
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Cool. Well done. So I had Pinto, which is, Gareth from The Office, the guy with one eye.
Okay, yeah, the guy.
But
All right,
Pintel's his mate. So Pintel's the guy with the
the
beard.
parlay guy.
Yeah, the parlay guy.
Okay.
So I think he would have given great reactions and responses to every time someone said parlay, like, what the fuck is parlay or whatever. And then when he had to say it to the British officers, I would have thought it would have been hilarious because he would have forgotten how to say parlay. He would have been like, parlay,
Yeah,
parlay. So we both had
the coughing.
the coughing. My other person that I had was the mute.
No, Bruce Campbell's going to say something. Admit that. That's funny.
Porn title. So I'm pretty sure that there is a Pirate of the Pirate Caribbean porn, and I did look it up because I reckon that I saw a couple of scenes at uni, and there is one floating around. The tagline for this porno is "the world's best porn parody," and it's just called Pirates. Did you have a name? I've got a name, and then just a little synopsis of what the movie
Yeah,
would
I've
be
got one
about.
too. Do you want to start or do you want me to
Yeah,
start?
you can go first.
All right, I had Seaman of the Beeman, the Black Pearl necklace. So I had pirates throughout the Caribbean speak of the neck of a fair maiden, Elizabeth, who was seeking the one true pearl necklace. Many a pirate has set sail at full mast to try and please her, but alas, no bones from many a damned sailor have proven worthy. Legends tell of entire crews losing their spirit the moment they glimpse at her neckline. She protests that it's not the size of the ship she craves, but the motion of the ocean. Alas, she waits until one band of overly confident seamen decide they're finally the ones to rise to the occasion.
That's brilliant. Okay, my one is Pirates of the. My one's. So I guess we're both sickos. We've got the same sort of theme. So my one's Pirates of the Caribbean: The Search for the Pearl Necklace. Um, a young governess is abducted by pirates and awakes on a deserted island, left only with a pearl necklace. It then turns into a revenge porn where she goes on a quest to find out whose pearl it belongs to.
Oh my god, I like it. Like it's like a revenge flick to try and fuck the car.
Yeah. Full Quentin Tarantino revenge friggin' porn. So good.
That's so good. Those two categories are the best, man. I swear.
Best outfit or prop. So what are you keeping, or as we say in Australia, what's going straight to the pool room?
All right. Well, maybe it's the Winter Olympics that have sort of swayed me slightly, but I'm taking the medallion. I think it screams Pirates of the Caribbean, and I reckon it's pretty recognizable and a bit of a conversation starter. So they look good next to the painting, I think.
Yeah, nice, awesome. If I can't have the first ship, which is called the Interceptor, then I would like the Commodore outfit because I would just rock that around and I would love it. And if I couldn't get any of them, I'd want the compass just to be like, hey, this is Jack Sparrow's compass.
Can I say, yeah, the compass is a great pick. Can I say, how big is your pool room where we've got a Virgil's sliding closet and a
Yeah,
pirate's?
I know. I'll go back to just the compass then. I'll go the compass. All right, Brad, what happens the next day? What happens after the credits stop?
All right, cool. I gave a little bit of a spiel on this idea too. So I've got Norrington gives Sparrow the 1 day head start. Jack immediately heads north using his famously useless compass and manages to run aground 6 hours late on an island that isn't even on the map. As tradition demands, Jack crews mutiny the moment they realize he has no idea what he's doing, leaving him stranded to escape once again. So that's Sparrow. Then I had Commodore Norrington after realizing that if Jack Sparrow is the worst pirate he's ever heard of, then he must be logically the worst officer in the Navy. Has a full existential collapse. He resigns his commission and retreats to England, committing himself to the Portsmouth Institute for the Nautically Insane. Then I had Will and Elizabeth plan to wed, but on the way to the ceremony, he suddenly panics, convinced he's forgotten the one ring. He turns the boat around, it immediately sinks, and the two of them end up drifting for days. They eventually wash up on Miami Beach, days sunburnt. They settle in and open a blacksmith and carpentry store, specializing in entirely in frames. They call it Mordor. Now, now
Good one.
as now as empty nester Governor Swan retires from politics and moves to Tortuga, yeah, where he opens up a refined gentleman's club named Swan Swallows and Spirits, where the dress code is pirate chic.
Brilliant, brilliant. No notes. All I had was Dead Man's Chest, which is the sequel.
You know what? I should have just written that.
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen it, so you don't know what happens. Maybe some of what you just said happens. Apart from what was the name of the shop? Swallow and
Swan, Swallow, and Spirits.
okay. Theory time. This is a new thing that I thought of. So I have a theory for you, which I want to put in front of you, and I want to hear your thoughts. And then if you have a theory, throw one back at me.
Mhm.
So, did they rip off Pirates of Penzance for this movie? A young orphan boy, sort of, role reverse, as it's revealed that he's a pirate, but pirates fraternizing with the governor's daughter, with her falling in love for one of the pirates, and then there's some sort of truce between the pirates and the people, or the British at the end of the film.
Do you know what? I didn't even think about that. And now that you've mentioned it, like, I think you're spot on. Hey, like, it is a bit of Pirates of the Penzance. So there's a lot of it happens that is Pirates of Penzance. So yeah, that's mind blown. What can I say? Mind blown. Yeah.
So, for people who don't know, Pirates of Penzance is a musical, very old musical by Gilbert and Sullivan, which we grew up going to.
Love it.
So,
Fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, it's quite good. But yeah, I just thought that I was like, my God, is this just watching it this time? That's all I could think. But do you have any
Yeah.
theories?
No, yeah, Barboza is the Pirate King, I imagine. But then no, is Barboza the Pirate King? Or is it
Nah, it's
Jack Sparrow
Davy
the Pirate?
Locker, isn't it?
No, but I mean, which character is the Pirate King from Pirates of the Caribbean?
I guess Jack was the first captain.
Yeah, and then Will is the boy that in Pirates of the Penzance born on leap year. Is that right?
Yeah, so Jack is the Pirate King, and Will is the guy that falls in love with the governor's daughter in Pirates.
Okay, cool.
The Dom Toretto. When the world comes at you fast and furious, listen to old mate Dom for the best life lesson from the movie.
All right, you
So
go.
I've got two.
Your one was great. Your one was great.
I
Okay,
got
do both of
two.
yours. Do both.
Everyone has a code or guidelines that they live by.
Oh,
And the second one, a zebra can't change its stripes. If you're born a pirate, you'll die a pirate. So, for example, Will, he's a pirate. He ends up a pirate at the end. And I'm pretty sure there's a line where Johnny Depp's like, you are who you are. So basically, this movie's like, if you're born into poverty, you're going to stay poor. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do anything about it. So you might as well just get on with it.
that's good. I like that. I had sometimes the best way to build a legendary reputation is to keep your mouth shut, nod confidently, and let everyone else exaggerate your genius on your stories like they do for Jack Sparrow. So
Yeah.
pretty much is like infamy in a nutshell, like where they're talking about, how he escaped the island, waited 3 days in the in the shallows, and, and he tied a couple of turtles together and he managed to escape. Like he didn't correct them or anything like that.
What
And
did you
then,
use for rope?
yeah, my hair,
Human hair. Human
yeah.
hair.
And then even when like Norrington's like, oh, you must be Jack Sparrow, like, you're the worst pirate ever. I've heard of you. He's like, yeah, but you've heard of me. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
think
yeah, great.
the infamy is good.
Airing of grievances. I've got a lot of problems with you people. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'll start. We can just go alternate.
Okay.
So the Black Pearl, I like how the Pirates of the Caribbean world, it's like a real ship. Like it's not like a Spectre or a Wraith or something like that. Like so multiple people, like Elizabeth, can walk on it. But they're always talking about how it's the fastest ship. But its sails are shot to shit. Like, like that wouldn't catch a wind at all, like at all. So
I'm gonna stop you right there. That was my exact same first point. My one is, how does the Black Pearl sail if all the sails are torn? It looks cool, but I couldn't stop looking at all the rips.
yeah, no, right. There's no way this thing is doing like more
Yeah.
than 2 knots. Like it's just drifting. Like it's not catching a single wind.
Well, I was going to have which I took out because at first I had, how the hell does the Interceptor catch up to it when, like, they have to go find a crew and then they still catch up to it at the island, but then it all backfires because the Black Pearl catches up to the Interceptor in like 2 seconds when they're actually chasing the Interceptor. So
Yeah,
it didn't work. But yeah, I have the exact same one. So my then first one will be, so Jack and Will, the only two going into the cave that is taking on the Black Pearl and all their crew. Um, really? That's the plan? Just the two of them?
like at the end there, and they got the
Yeah.
rest of the
He's like,
Navy
just
hanging
let
out.
me and Will go in. Just like, but there's a whole ship worth of people in there. Like, I don't think you two are going to do jack all.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. You're right. Yeah.
Do you have
What are
another
two
one?
people going to do versus? Yeah, I do. Um, I had it's a bit of a gripe, really. Luckily, they had this scene because I would have given this movie a 0. But the walking the plank that came into the movie so late, but I think it would have been done a bit better. Like every time I see, or every time I read or think about a walking the plank scene, I think about like a shark circling and something like that. But I don't know. I thought that was the scene that sort of let me down was the walking the plank. What about you? Did you like the walking the plank?
I do like walking the plank. I got very nervous because I read a good book. Well, I say read, I listen to books, but I'm still going to say that I read. I read a good book, the Captain Cook book, his last journey called The Wide, Wide Sea. Why are there a lot of sharks and sea life following boats?
I don't know why.
Because they like all the food and scraps that they throw off and like all the human feces and stuff like that. They'll eat it. So I got very nervous when she got thrown into the water. I was like, there should be sharks there. Because
Yeah,
apparently there are always sharks there because, as I said, there's always food and stuff. So they'll just follow the boats along.
yeah. Especially
But
with
I,
the Black Pearl with their fancy food that they're putting on overnight.
yeah.
So yeah.
So this is one, I think, my biggest gripe. So Will, or Orlando, hated pirates for 90% of the movie. Like, was like, I never want to be a pirate. If you're a pirate, I'm going to try and kill you or whatever. But then when he turns in or finds out like even when he finds out he's a pirate, he slams the coin on the ground because, he's real pissed. But then he turns into a pirate in like 2 seconds at the end and he's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to be a pirate now.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, my biggest that yeah, I agree. My biggest gripe out of all of them was the ending. Like I didn't like it at all. Like I thought Will rescues a condemned man only to have zero consequences happen for his actions by the Commodore, whose fiance just dumps him in front of everyone and takes Will's side. And to top that off,
For a confused Frenchman.
yeah, as a top that off, the dad is like, yeah, I'm cool with it. And like
Yeah.
no townspeople were there watching it as well. I don't know. I just felt like it could have been done a bit better. Like, for example, they'd pardon Jack for his help in defeating the crew of the Black Pearl and then let him go on his merry way. And then you could have had, the second movie or whatever there again, where he's on a new adventure. But I don't know. I don't know. The ending sort of, I don't know. Did you like it?
I was thinking there's no way that the dad's allowing Elizabeth to be with Will.
Marry a commoner.
I was thinking that. Letterbox, Brad. Oh, this is where my quote, which I teased everybody at the start, which comes out now. So, Brad, what's your letterbox rating?
So I gave it a 3 out of 5, and I put
Oh,
down
what?
squashbuckling savvy.
Three out of
He's
five.
always
Geez, you're
getting
a hard
savvy.
marker.
I am a hard marker.
So I gave it 4 stars. You best believing in ghost stories. This was a bloody good one.
Yeah.
Rewatchable factor, Brad. I'll start. I love it every time I watch it. It'd been quite a while, but it was just so enjoyable that it's just you put it on, I'll sit down and watch it. And just to show that, like, it went on to make gazillions of dollars, and they made what, four other movies. I'm glad after all this Amber Heard stuff that apparently, I can't speak. Johnny Depp and Disney might have reconciled, so hopefully he will be coming back to Disney. Doesn't have to make another Pirates movie, but I just think Johnny Depp in movies is a good thing.
Hmm.
What
Yeah, no,
about you? Rewatchable?
I've watched it a couple of times now to do this pod, but I do feel like that it is one that you can easily just fall back into and rewatch it. I like the stunts. I like the comedy. It's not over the top. Um, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but the Cursed Crew gimmick, like how their skeletons, I didn't even know about that Jerry Bruckheimer stuff, but how their skeletons, it wasn't like wearing out its welcome, how that transition between the two. I thought that was really cool. Um,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think sorry to interrupt you, but it was a good little at the time they then introduced they were skeletons. It was like good little, oh, cool, cool, this is the next thing. Like, you know what I mean? They've taken
yeah,
I wouldn't say the movie was slowing down at all, but it was a nice little, like, oh, and we're not just pirates, we're also dead, like, cursed pirates.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I thought the plot was straightforward. The emotional arcs are light. I thought it was like that comfort adventure. It definitely makes you want to go to Disneyland and go on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride for sure. And if it's on TV, definitely, or if it's on if I'm walking past and Leanne's got it playing in the background, like I'll happily sit down and watch it. So yeah, I
Great.
did like it.
Um, what movie would you pair it with, and have you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, do you want to go first or?
Yeah, so I don't really have any final thoughts, but I would pair it with Master and Commander or Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So Master and Commander being the more serious, it wasn't a pirate movie, but more serious sort of that time ship movie.
Mhm.
And Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas because I feel like Johnny's uh, being awesome as well in that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good. They're good options. I paired it with like the Mummy. I thought it was
Ah, good
that
one.
adventure comedy energy.
Yeah.
Like talked about like that theme park sort of spirit. Like I could imagine like a mummy kind of ride at that movie world or whatever as well, Disneyland. Um, yeah, and we talked about the score earlier. I really liked the music, the jokes, and I thought it was spooky, but not too spooky. Like, if you've got kids and stuff that watch it, I think they quite enjoy it. But I was going to say, I did a little list of the top five pirates in the modern era. So I'll take it away with number five. I put Somalians. Number four, I had Captain Morgan. Number three, I have the guy who uses your Netflix login details and doesn't pay for it. Number two, I had Han Solo, and the number one pirate I had was Pirate Bay.
I was going to say, what about Pirate Bay? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
not that I ever used it, FBI.
Han
Um,
Solo is a good one as well. Mailbox. So we've got our first mailbox, Brad.
yeah, we do. Someone reached out to us to just let us know if they can find out the next movie ahead of time, just so they can watch that and then enjoy the pod. So, do you want to let them know, Jeremy, what the next movie is?
Yeah, so next movie is going to be The Fugitive. We're going to be trying to do these podcasts once a fortnight. So you got a couple of days to get it in. I haven't seen The Fugitive. Don't hate me. But if you do have any thoughts or any comments, please send us an email, inthemoodforamovie@gmail.com. Anything else, Brad, you want to get off your chest before we close it out?
No, no, it was a good pick. I'm a bit of a hard marker, but I thought it was really good.
Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Alrighty, boys and girls. Well, that's it for another episode of In the Mood for a Movie. Thank you so much for hanging with us as always. We hope you had fun listening as we did, talking. If you got any thoughts or hot takes or movie suggestions, or you just want to tell us what we're doing wrong or right, please hit us up, inthemoodforamovie@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'm Jeremy. This is Brad. We'll catch you next time when we're doing The Fugitive. But just before we go, we'll say my daughter's favorite pirate joke. Brad, what's a pirate's favorite letter?
What's that?
Arr!
Arr, have a good one.
Have a good one.